الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أم كنتم شهداء إذ حضر يعقوب الموت إذ قال لبنيه ما تعبدون من بعدي قالوا نعبد إلهك وإله آبائك إبراهيم وإسماعيل وإسحاق إلها واحدا ونحن له مسلمون تلك أمة قد خلت لها ما كسبت ولكم ما كسبتم ولا تسألون عما كانوا يعملون صدق الله العظيم. Respected elders, dear brothers and sisters, we have come to Ayat number 133 of Surat al-Baqarah. And this is a continuation of the bayan or discussion related to Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. It is amazing the structure of Surat al-Baqarah. But before the qissa and story of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, we had a detailed bayan or detailed discussion about the Bani Israel or the Yahud and Jews. We have to understand that when it comes to revealed religions, adyan that have been preserved, religions that have been preserved as far as revelation is concerned, from the very first human being, Adam alayhi salam, and then counting all of the Anbiya alayhim salam, the prophets and messengers, all of them were Muslim. All of them had submitted themselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But over time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Anbiya alayhim salam, prophets and messengers. And He gave them various revelations at various times, at different times. And as humanity was maturing and coming to its full maturity, the deen of Islam was also coming to completion. In the beginning, there was a need to preserve Islam and keep it limited to the Anbiya alayhim salam, to the prophets and messengers, and just their aqwam in the nation that they were sent to. As humanity matured, it became clear that humanity was now able to take a responsibility of taking care of a deen and preserving a deen. So after Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kept nubuwah and prophethood within the progeny of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. This is why he has also been given the title of Abul Anbiya, or the father of prophets. Because any Nabi or prophet that came after him came within his progeny. Majority of those Anbiya alayhimus salam, they came in the progeny of Ishaq alayhis salam, who had a son Yaqub alayhis salam, and was the father of the Jewish tribes, the Bani Israel. Even this title, Bani Israel, was a title given to them meaning the children of Yaqub alayhis salam. With the thousands of Anbiya alayhimus salam, they were sent. The teachings of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhis salam, they were preserved. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the first complete scripture, complete book, the Torah, gave it to Sayyidina Musa alayhis salam. There are a few points that need to be understood very clearly. Many of these Anbiya alayhimus salam, prophets and messengers, they were given very, very high status and great positions because of their sincerity. And they were sincere in the face of the most difficult times and the most difficult of tests. This is the case of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. And came the case of Yaqub alayhi salam. He was also tested with his own children. The details are mentioned in Surah Yusuf, where the brothers of Yusuf alayhi salam, they plotted against Yusuf alayhi salam and took Yusuf alayhi salam away from the presence of their father. Very difficult psychological torture. One is a condition or a case of parents who lose their child passes away. So at least the parents have some closure. But even then, it is very, very difficult on the parents, the loss of a child. But when there's no closure, you don't know if the child is alive or not. Then it becomes very, very difficult upon the parents. And this was the case of Yaqub alayhi salam. For a very, very long period of time, many, many long years, he did not know if his son Yusuf alayhi salam was alive or not. Yes, he had hope in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he kept his resolve, but difficulty upon difficulty he was faced with, and he was faced with that difficulty in the face of his own children. His sons were the one that made the plot against his other son. In this world, when someone plots against you or your children, at least you take the side of your children. But if your children are the very ones causing you harm, then what can you do? So Yaqub alayhi salam, he was faced with very, very, very great difficulty. But he kept his resolve. And in that difficulty, so much emotional difficulty and hardship, psychological difficulty and hardship, so much he wept. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about his weeping in the ayat of the Quran. وَتَوَلَّى عَنْهُمْ وَقَالَ يَا صَفَا عَلَى يُوسُفَ وَبِيَضَّتْ عَيْنَاهُ مِنَ الْحُزْنِ فَهُوَ كَظِيمٌ. Then he went beside himself and he just started weeping that what is the condition of Yusuf. And he wept so much that his eyes became white. Complete cataract of the eyes, and even he went blind. And he was so filled with sorrow and pain. Those are some of the most difficult ayat in the Quran as far as emotional pain is concerned. But even then, he did not lose hope in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is a very, very great lesson for all of us as believers. that we should never ever lose hope in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, regardless of how difficult the situation and condition may be around us. With all of that test, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala returned Yusuf alayhi salam to him. At that time, Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam was much elder. He had gone through a very long process, stage after stage. In the end, he became Aziz in Misr. He became the finance minister of Egypt. A very high position politically. And even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala returned the eyesight back to Yaqub alayhi salam when he passed the test. On all of these tests that he was put through, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the title of Israel, which is Hebrew for Abdullah, or slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a real sincere servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And his children, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them, that in their progeny came the Anbiya alayhim salam, the prophets and messengers of the Bani Israel. Even Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam came in that progeny. Going a little bit further, Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, when he was sent at a time when the Bani Israel were put through extreme tortures at the hands of Fir'aun. The Jewish tribes, the Jews in Misr and Egypt, that had been put through such slavery and such hardships that one could not even speak of. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions them in the Quran just to give us an idea, the kind of zulm and oppression, the kind of zalim and oppressor zalim that Fir'aun was. And he did not hesitate in killing infant babies. He did not hesitate in killing the men. He did not hesitate in enslaving them and torturing them. He invented different, multiple ways of torture. The Bani Israel turned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent that help in the form of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. When they were taken out of all of that difficulty, and they were left in the desert roaming, that was when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them the Torah and entrusted them to take care of the Torah. So that means that in our lives, times will come where we will face difficulty. But that is the time to show resolve. That is the time to show perseverance. That is the time to put your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the time to have very great hope in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should never become hopeless during those times. And if you study again the history of the Bani Israel, again, they were taken out of power. The time of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, they were given authority after him, Yusha bin Nun alayhi salam. The time came again where people took that power from them. Again, put them under difficult conditions. They were even made homeless, or taken out of their lands, forced out of their lands. And in all of those difficulties, they made a dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for relief. And the verses are coming later on in Surat Baqarah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent to them Shamuel alayhi salam, a Nabi, a prophet. And through his dua, the dua of Shamuel alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent them a leader, Talut. And through Talut, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the Bani Israel again upper hand, command, and control. And in that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also sent a Nabi to them, who was also a leader for them and also a spiritual guide, a Nabi Dawood alayhi salam, who was a Rasul, a messenger and a prophet, but at the same time a leader, a king. But that also came after a time of hardship. And what is amazing about Dawood alayhi salam is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent him and gave him the Zabur, which was another revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So wahi and revelation, as far as the revealed scriptures are concerned, when you study, you find that it came at a time after there was great difficulty and suffering. Then they were told to uphold and to hold on to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It wasn't that they were just enjoying life and then they were given revelation like this. No. It came after a time of difficulty and hardship. Again, the time of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. And you go again, read the history of what happened to the mu'mineen and believers at that time. There were very few that believed in Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. Only 12 disciples. 11 of them were sincere. So it means that there was actually a warrant out for those who believed in Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. At that time, the lives of the Anbiya alayhi salam, the prophets, was even put in danger. Zakaria alayhi salam, he was shaheed. Yahya alayhi salam, he was shaheed. They were put to death. They were martyrs. And the few believers that believed in Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, they were always moving around. Time of great difficulty. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about their difficulty in Surah Al-Ma'idah, He tells us that they even came, the disciples came to Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam and asked for food because they didn't have nothing to eat. They were starving. But after all of those difficulties, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam the Injil, another revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the same comes with the Quran also. The early believers, we know what kind of difficulties they bore. Those that accepted Islam amongst the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, the Sabiqun al-Awwalun. Those are the very, very early Sahaba that accepted Islam, what kind of difficulty they were put through. And throughout that period, that time of the mission of Nubuwwah, of prophethood, those 23 years, what kind of difficulties Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam faced, and what kind of tests the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, what kind of difficulties they faced. But in the end, the Quran was given to them, complete Quran was given to them, and they preserved it. All of this is a very, very great lesson for us as believers. And this world is not a paradise. And also, if you want qurb ilallah, you want closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it doesn't come always with comfort and ease. There will be times of difficulty. There will be hardships. You will be tested. But those who show and prove their sincerity at that time when they're being tested, those are the ones that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He blesses them and gives them the highest positions. Someone has to sacrifice. And this is the system that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created in this dunya, in this world, in our lifetime as human beings. We also find that throughout this history of Islam, throughout the history of the Muslims, there were times when Muslims struggled, went through difficulties and hardships. But after all that struggle, then there came a time of peace and aman in the world. There came a time where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then gave the Muslims the upper hand. And this is the system of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this dunya, in this world. وَتِلْكَ الْأَيَّامُ نُدَاوِلُهَا بَيْنَ النَّاسِ. These are the days that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He rotates them amongst the humans. Sometimes one nation is on top. Another time, another nation is on top. Many a times during time of comfort, we human beings, we become so complacent in our lives. We start to become heedless, become a ghafil. But the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the importance of the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when we're faced with a little bit difficulty or a little bit hardship, that is the time that we turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the nature of us human beings. وَإِذَا مَسَّ النَّاسَ ضُرٌّ دَعَانَا. When a human being is touched with hardship, then he makes dua to us. وَإِذَا مَسَّ النَّاسَ ضُرٌّ دَعَا رَبَّهُ مُنِيبِينَ إِلَيْهِ. A human being is touched by difficulty and hardships, and they turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being very, very sincere to Him. That is the time that a person becomes sincere, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts that sincerity and gives those nations or those people, again, the status of being the heirs to nubuwwah and prophethood. But all of this is mentioned because in the coming ayat, in the previous ayat, Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, he told his sons that you also accept Islam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen this deen for you. إِنَّ اللَّهَ اصْطَفَى لَكُمُ الدِّينَ فَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen and selected this deen for you. So don't die except in the state of Islam, except that you are Muslim. And coming to this ayat number 133, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about the advice that Yaqub alayhi salam gave to his children. Am kuntum shuhada'a idh hadara Yaqub al-maut. Or were you there present when Yaqub alayhi salam was facing death, at the time of death? إذ قال لبنيه, when he said to his children, ما تعبدون من بعدي, what will you worship after me? And this was after Yaqub alayhi salam had for a long time missed Yusuf alayhi salam, and then missed Binyamin. Very great difficulty if you read Surah Yusuf, the details of Surah Yusuf. So he was asking his children, you did this to me, and I'm your father. What will you do to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? But he asked them, مَا تَعْبُدُونَ مِن بَعْدِي. What will you, meaning my children, what will you worship after me, after I'm gone? And the reason Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making this point very clear, because in the progeny of Yaqub alayhi salam, there came the Bani Israel, and there was thousands of prophets and Anbiya alayhi salam, prophets and messengers that came in the progeny of Yaqub alayhi salam. So Yaqub alayhi salam, he asked his 12 sons, and these were the Bani Israel. You see, the 12 tribes, the Jewish tribes. He asked them, مَا تَعْبُدُونَ مِن بَعْدِي. What will you worship after me? قالوا, his sons responded, نَعْبُدُ إِلَهَكَ وَإِلَهَ آبَائِكَ. We're going to worship your God, the God of your forefathers, Ibrahim wa Ismail wa Ishaq ilaha wahida. Ibrahim alayhi salam and Ismail alayhi salam and Ishaq alayhi salam. Ilaha wahida. We're going to worship that one God, the one ilah. His sons gave a very straight answer, that we're going to worship your God and the one God, which is your God and the God of your forefathers. Ibrahim alayhi salam, and Ismail alayhi salam, and Ishaq alayhi salam. Ilahun wahida. We're going to worship the one ilah. وَنَحْنُ لَهُ مُسْلِمُونَ, and we're going to remain Muslim. The sons that repented for whatever they had done, the hardship they had caused their father. So this was the legacy that Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, he left for his children. And this legacy was carried on by Yaqub alayhi salam, when he left this legacy for his children. And left it in their progeny. Or left it in his progeny amongst his children. But they also remain Muslim. They only worship one Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes one fact very clear. Tilka ummatun qad khalad. Those were a nation that passed before. They passed in their time. لَهَا مَا كَسَبَتْ وَلَكُمْ مَا كَسَبْتُمْ. For them is whatever they earn. And for you will be whatever you earn. Don't worry about what they did. Yes, some people may go about and accuse the brothers of Yusuf alayhi salam for what they did, and that's understandable. But we have no right to question them or to worry about them. We should worry about our own a'mal. وَلَا تُسْأَلُونَ عَمَّا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. You will not be asked about their actions and deeds, what they did. And this is a kind of a direct answer to the Bani Israel, because they used to claim that we're going to stick to our deen. And that our people were right and we're not going to leave behind that legacy. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making clear to the Bani Israel that you should accept Islam, the same Islam. And now we have the final version, so just take the final version. Why are you sticking to the traditions of your forefathers? You've been given the complete product, so take the complete product. Take this deen of Islam and take it seriously. You won't be questioned about the actions of your forefathers. And this is also to break that idea of inherited sin. There's a concept within the previous adyan that a child born carries the sins of their parents. The Bani Israel sometimes felt this burden on them that whatever their fathers did to Yusuf alayhi salam, what the brothers did to Yusuf alayhi salam, is if that they will also carry this burden. And they will also be questioned about it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is clarifying this, that no, the system has changed now. Your job is to worry about your actions. Your job is to worry about what you earn. And your job is to accept this beautiful deen of Islam. You will not be questioned about what they did. That is, you have no business with what they did. You don't have to tie yourself to their sins. A very, very clear message to the Bani Israel and also to anyone who may have this notion of inherited sin. But Islam does not take this stance. Every child that is born innocent. Every child that is born on the fitrah of Islam. كُلُّ مَوْلُودٍ يُولَدُ عَلَى الْفِطْرَةِ وفي رواية على الفطرة الإسلام, that every child that is born on the fitrah, on nature. Another tradition, the nature of Islam, beautiful nature. Then it is up to the parents to make them Yahudi or Nasrani or whatever other religions the parents want to impose on the child. So we have to really worry about and be concerned about what we earn. We should not be concerned about what others have done. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding and give all of us the tawfiq to practice His deen. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ. Shall we do a hadith? نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. أما بعد. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال فضلت على الأنبياء بست. I have been given superiority. So Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, فُضِّلْتُ عَلَى الْأَنْبِيَاءِ بِسِتٍّ, I've been given superiority over the other prophets with 6 things. And we've gone over this hadith. First portion, أُعْطِيتُ جَوَامِعَ الْكَلِمِ, that I've been given Jawami al-Kalim, which is Jawami al-Kalim, the comprehensive words, where with a few words you're able to explain encyclopedias of information. The next quality which has been given to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, a special gift over the other Anbiya alayhim as-salam, وَنُصِرْتُ بِالرُّعْبِ, and I've been helped with ru'b. Ru'b is actually a kind of reverence that you may have for someone. But it's a very, very special type of reverence. And it's a reverence to a point where a person standing in your presence is afraid, or you are afraid of someone. And it's a kind of fear of reverence. There's some people that are gifted with it. But the Anbiya alayhim as-salam, they had it, and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he was given a very special type of ru'b. Whereas enemies used to stand in front of him and they could not even look at him in the face to face. They couldn't face him. And they used to be afraid of him. And it was not because he was mean or because he had a mean attitude. No, he was the most kindest, most beautiful person that you could ever meet as far as akhlaq is concerned. The best creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most beautiful and perfect akhlaq. But this was a gift that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given him. He had a natural ru'b. And his enemies, the enemies of Islam, the kuffar and disbelievers, used to be always afraid of him. They could not face him. And on a few occasions, even Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, just looking at some of them, they almost used to collapse. After one of the battles, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he was coming back from one ghazwa. And on the way back, I believe it was Khandaq or Hunayn, one of the battles. It was either the Khandaq or, Khaybar or Tabuk. But on the way back, it was kind of Qaylula time. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, it found some shade and he took some rest. Sahaba also went, they took some rest. Sahaba reported that we were awakened and we went to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He was calling out to us. We went there and there was a disbeliever sitting on the ground. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was also sitting there holding a sword. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam told the disbeliever, go ahead and explain what happened. So the kafir said that I came and I saw Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was sleeping, and I thought to myself, perfect time, let me go and finish him. And when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he was sleeping, he had hung his sword on one of the tree branches. He was getting shade. So this kafir went and unsheathed the sword and put it to the neck of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and woke him up. And told him, مَنْ يَمْنَعُكَ مِنِّي, who's going to save you from me? The kafir, the disbeliever, told Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, مَنْ يَمْنَعُكَ مِنِّي, who is going to save you from me? So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he looked at the disbeliever and he said, Allah, Allah, Allah. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to save me. And the kafir, he started shaking, he dropped the sword and he fell on the ground. This is called ru'b. The person was almost so overwhelmed, he completely lost his strength and dropped the sword and fell to the floor. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he picked up the sword and put it to the neck of the kafir and said, who's going to save you from me? The disbeliever said that you're very kind and merciful and you're a good person, and I'll promise I'll not fight you if you let me go. This was a kind of special ru'b that was given to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, special reverence. And it is amazing, it was also given to the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam over the other nations. I found many times in our lives, some of the mashayikh, some of the righteous scholars, you're afraid to be in their presence. That's a natural thing. This is not, especially if it is a very righteous and pious sheikh and a pious, scholar of deen. And their piety is very close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're awliyaullah. Then even being in their presence, one feels so scared. When you get to know them, they are the nicest people that you'll ever meet in your life. So kind, so nice. They have such beautiful akhlaq. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them this gift because of their piety, because of their taqwa, because of their fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you get scared to just be in front of them. And many a times they're able to control very difficult situations where people may be out of control. One of the qualities of this ru'b is just being in that situation. Everyone comes under control. I still remember when we were studying and we were students up until now. When we were very young and we started our studies and up until now. One thing about our shuyukh, that our shaykh, whenever he used to come, everyone was very afraid of him. Very kind, very nice. You get to meet him, you'll be surprised how nice he is. But the students, oh subhanallah, it was like a code word that if the students were playing around, they were not doing their lesson, we used to have one of the students used to stand on the window and check to make sure that shaykh wasn't coming. And if shaykh was coming, code word was shaykh is coming, and everyone used to become straight. Everyone would become serious in their class. And not just today, a long time, up until now this happens. But that's the kind of this natural fear everyone has, but just out of reverence. It's not that we were afraid or that we were punished in any way. No. There was no punishment. Even when we were playing around, the shaykh wouldn't say anything. He would just tell us, don't play around, do your lesson. That's it. Nothing like harsh or no. It's that reverence was there. That fear was there. And up until now, we couldn't figure out what it was. Like why we're so afraid. And you've seen grown men, strong men in the presence of that shaykh, they cannot, function the way they function. Out of respect, this is called ru'b. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is gave it to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He gave it to the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they also had this kind of ru'b. Especially Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, he was famous for this. And then it passed on to the ulama and the mashayikh. You'll find it many times in your life. You'll go in the presence of a shaykh and you will not even be able to speak. And it's not for no reason whatsoever, just you'll be shivering, you'll not be able to speak in their presence. They'll be the kindest person you'll ever meet in your life, but that's what ru'b, it will overwhelm you so much. Then in their presence, you'll not even be able to open your mouth to say something. So this is also a gift that is passed on, and it comes with taqwa. When a person develops real taqwa and spends time in the company of the ulama and mashayikh, he becomes students of, we're only students of Quran and Sunnah, and we were able to see some of these things. But that's an experience you get when you're in that presence and you have that taqwa. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will make the people around you give you a certain type of reverence. And it's very easy to understand that when you fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make the whole creation subservient to you. Inshallah, we stop here. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding and give all of us the tawfiq to practice His deen. Ma alayna illa al-balagh.